That's another thing too. I love how the people who bitch and moan all day long about cancel culture are always whining about everything. These people are whining about a picture of a trans woman on a beer can. Aww. You're pathetic. Go out. I'm gonna need some of these men to go out there and build, okay? Go out there and build, make yourself useful. Before we get into this video, I wanted to let you guys know that it's sponsored by my Patreon. Patreon is where I upload a ton of my personal vlogs and other things that I don't post publicly to YouTube. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, definitely check out my Patreon. If you followed my side channel, you know already that I have pushed all of my content from my side channel to my Patreon and will continue to upload that type of content onto my Patreon. Right now, you can see these videos if you are curious. And yeah, I'm excited to expand, and Patreon is exactly how I do that. So if you enjoy my content, consider supporting me on Patreon. All right, so before we get into this video, we have to get into the look, okay? I have never worn all silver, and if I'm being honest, I'm like a little, I don't know, I'm feeling a little insecure about it. I'm in New Orleans. One of the things I like to do when I travel is pack an outfit that I wouldn't usually wear because it just allows me to, I don't know, express myself in a way I don't usually while I'm on vacation. Me being here and making this video is very perfect because a lot of the content that I'm thinking about making for this channel while I am in the process of working on some larger stuff is going to be in this tone, because I've been shutting myself away from a lot of news. I've been deliberately just enjoying people in my vicinity, the stuff that I can control, the things that I actually have an ability to directly affect. And that's become my focus. So when it came to this topic, a lot of people were asking me about it, but I don't know much about it because I frankly don't care. But in this video, we are going to be investigating this topic, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys my personal feelings. We're going to talk about Dylan Mulvaney. I think that's how you say her name. I'm not exactly sure. A lot of people have asked me about what I think about the whole Budweiser? Is it Budweiser? I hate beer. Let's start with that. Beer sucks, okay? No offense to everybody who likes beer. If you personally identify as beer or whatever, no offense. I just don't think you're valid. I don't like beer. I think beer tastes the same. I think people who drink beer and say that it tastes like significantly different, I think you guys are lying. It's like coffee to me. Like, why are we pretending that this is something unique and interesting? It just all tastes like the same shit. And frankly, Budweiser tastes the most like piss. So I don't really understand why people really care, because beer is inherently bad and invalid, like I just said. But I'm less confused by the beer aspect, because if you guys don't know, Dylan Mulvaney apparently did a spot for Budweiser. She's on a can or whatever. But my bigger question in this conversation is, who the fuck is Dylan Mulvaney? So I'm gonna look up Dylan Mulvaney and figure it out, because here's my thing with her. I don't know why we're talking so much about her. I have no clue who this person is. Part of me feels very out of touch with maybe some of the conversations that people are having right now. I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm just gonna be perpetually out of touch when it comes to a lot of these things. My priorities and what I care about have moved on, and so I'm just not as aware of who these people are and what these things are, but I do feel curious just because I keep hearing about her. Who the fuck is Dylan Mulvaney? What does Wikipedia say? Because, you know, Wikipedia is a really good, solid platform. Okay, Dylan Mulvaney is, first of all, she's 6 years younger than me. That's offensive. She's an American actress, comedian, and TikTok personality known for detailing her gender transition in daily videos on social media platform TikTok. Since early 2022, in October 2022, Mulvaney spoke with US President Joe Biden at the White House about transgender rights. Now, I'm gonna start with this, and maybe this is gonna be me seeming ignorant, right? Maybe this is gonna be where I show my ignorance, right? I have not watched one of Dylan Mulvaney's full 365 days as a girl videos, but the few that I've seen have definitely made me cringe. But from my memory, like I said, I've only seen so much of it. From my memory, the reason why they make me cringe is because it reminds me of the way that you see gender when you first come out, which does tend to lean into stereotypes. It often tends to lean into all of these sort of superficial aspects of femininity for trans women that you were not given access to. And I think that those things that you cling to early in your life as a trans person are not nearly as important as you go on in your life, right? I made a video recently on my Instagram about makeup, right? Makeup is fun. I view makeup as like a fun thing to do right now, but I definitely saw it when I was a bit younger as a way for me to protect my gender. If I didn't have it, there was something wrong with me. So there's stuff that's really important to you early on that doesn't become important to you with time and when you become more seated in your life as a trans person. From the little that I saw, the cringe that I got from it was very related to that. So I'm gonna look at these videos really quickly just to see what the kids are talking about. There's a fly in this Airbnb and I'm about to fucking go crazy. I'm gonna fucking kill it. I'm gonna fucking kill this fly. I'm gonna get it. Get it. All right.
So you really gonna do with me like this? Like I was here first or whatever. Like,
I got you. Okay. What do I need men for? All right, okay, so I'm really worried about watching some of these videos that are coming up because a lot of the videos I'm seeing immediately are clearly against her. A lot of them are made by other trans people saying that it's cringe. Oh, it's Bud Light, it's not Budweiser. See, girl, this is how much I see, look. This is how much I know. All right, what was the hashtag? It was Days of Girlhood. Okay, so she's got a whole page on YouTube, actually.
It's day 360 of being a woman, and it's my first International Women's Day, and I feel a lot more comfortable calling myself a woman than I did in those early days. And I'm definitely in my womanhood now, not just my girlhood. And I'm just really honored to be grouped with all you women out there because you are my favorite humans on this planet. And I wore a pantsuit to celebrate. What do we think? I love it. But I just hope you sleep well, and I love you so much, and I care about you. Okay, I love you.
Okay, I think, all right, so before I watch another video, I'm gonna say this, okay? I think the topic of a trans girlhood is complex for trans women because, like I mentioned, I think the little bit that I saw of the Days of Girlhood stuff that made me cringe was related to a lot of eagerness over things that lose their luster with time. And in a way, I want to point out that cis women do the same thing, right? When you're a young girl, a lot of the things that you see as very particularly associated with your womanhood later become things that you aren't a huge fan of and you learn to see them as less defining, right? But I think with trans women, it's a complex thing because you're dealing with being a transgender person who in many ways was probably denied the ability to participate in a lot of the things that your friends participated in and a lot of the things that your family members who are women participated in. And so you feel this overwhelming need to grab for them. And some of those things are a little immature. Some of those things are a little immature because they're things you wanted to do when you were a kid, right? And when a trans woman comes out, you end up going through that like quick sort of process of finding out what exactly makes sense for you in terms of your gender expression, right? That's why you'll see a lot of older trans women dressing in a way that you would probably say is not age appropriate because you have people who for the longest time in their lives wanted to wear the tank top that looks like this, right? But now they're in their 40s and women who are cis, who are in their 40s are still ashamed for dressing like that. So there's a thing that I think happens with trans girls where when they first come out, it's hard to differentiate from those things you really wanted to do and those things that are appropriate. I'm gonna keep looking through because this was day 360. Oof, what is the great tampon debacle? And why are there like 4 videos of it?
Day 271 of being a girl, or I'll say woman for this one, because this video is for the women on Twitter who just really don't like me. Hello, ladies. We got a lot to cover, but let's first talk tampons. I haven't talked about tampons on here lately because I don't use them. I'm a woman who doesn't have a uterus. I know this. And science was my strongest subject in high school. I was also shockingly good at math, but I digress. I just sometimes carry one in case anybody needs it. And that seems to have just set the world on fire in some pretty nasty ways. And this is a conversation that's been going on for months. I just haven't chimed in because I'm so tired of sticking up for myself over something that was so pure intentioned. But now Twitter is just ablaze. And this week, there's some women that are now coming for Tampax, and I wanted to clear the air. So, I have some amazing news. Are you ready? I have never worked with Tampax before. Day 271 of being a girl, or
okay. There's other parts to this.
And I gave them all away. I've got a few left. And this one's really gonna blow your mind. I have never made $1 off of feminine hygiene products. So, I hope that helps you sleep better at night, knowing that. And no need to bring Tampax into this. But the bigger problem at hand is that you feel me carrying a tampon around is a threat to you and your womanhood. How is someone doing something nice so repulsive to you? Because listen to this, if a man, whether he was your boyfriend or your husband, could even be your gay best friend, kept a tampon for you at his house just in case you needed it, you'd gush over him. You would run to brunch on Sunday and tell all your gal pals that he's so thoughtful and he cares and he listens. And then a trans woman does it, and all of a sudden I'm the reason that there's a tampon shortage. It's not because I'm misogynistic, it's because you're transphobic.
That part. All right. So I don't know about this. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever watched any Dylan Mulvaney related content. Girl, let's take this hair down. So I don't know what the whole situation is, but I have for sure seen a couple of instances of trans women on TikTok specifically. And I've seen them do this thing where they've got a tampon in their purse and they're like, ew, yucky, cringy. And that I do tend to find to be quite misogynistic, but it seems like that's not exactly what Dylan did here. People were just upset that she had a tampon, which is odd. I don't carry tampons. Perhaps I should. I've never been asked for a tampon. Actually, that's not true. I have been asked for a tampon several times, but I always just say I don't have them. So I don't know. I get it. It's a nice thought. And I don't, let me read the comments. What do the comments say about this? It's not a threat. It's total and utter disrespect for us real women. Oh my God. People really do not like her. So what she said in the video is that she carries a tampon so that she can make sure that if a cis woman needs one, she can have one. Which for me, I believe it, I'm sure, but I don't know. I've definitely thought, definitely during the time when I was stealth, especially during the time when I was stealth, that I should make a show of purchasing feminine products just in case. And y'all have to understand, when I was stealth, that was all about not seeming like a trans person. And I definitely had situations where people came over to my house and it was like, I had the thought of maybe I should have tampons and things in the bathroom, if only to make sure that I can still be stealth. And stealth for me wasn't about tricking everyone and making sure that no one knew that I was trans, because that's just something that I enjoy. It was about survival. It was about not being socially ostracized. It was about being able to get a job. It was about being able to connect with people who could get me work. And I viewed my transness for a really long time as a thing that would potentially sabotage that. So for me, I didn't want to do anything that could come close to that. These days, I care a lot less about that. Like, I got purple hair and I am definitely a person who draws attention with the way that I look these days. But back in the day, my priority was making sure that no one looked at me too hard and no one suspected anything. And having feminine products on hand was definitely something that I thought of. But anyway, I want to keep reading some of these comments because it's so interesting. It's not that we feel threatened, it's that it feels like you are making light of being a woman. Like anyone can be one. Like a tampon makes you a woman. Having a period is a sacred thing for women. Sometimes it has brought women trauma starting their periods. It's one thing to make, it's one thing that makes us a woman, and it's emotional. Some women don't even like to talk about their periods. It's extremely personal. And I would probably agree with that. That's probably why in my whole life, I think I've only ever had a couple of people ask me for a tampon, and it's really not it's usually said, the times I've been asked, it's literally been in the context of, we're all going to the bathroom. These people don't know that I'm trans yet. A girl that I know is in a bind. It's that sort of stuff. I don't know. I will say that I do think it's odd to walk around with a tampon if you don't need one, but whatever. This person says, what Dylan doesn't understand is that he can't on a whim decide not to be a girl, not to have a period in his mind. Real women don't flip-flop like that. Periods come for most, whether you like it or not. And for many, it is debilitating. What is Dylan going to do for an encore? Pretend he's having a miscarriage or menopause or osteoporosis? For fuck's sakes, he should just be watched for entertainment only if you must. But for real, don't take him seriously. Inviting him to the White House was the fault of the woke, not Dylan. Dylan is laughing all the way to the bank. All right, so there's actually a few things I want to say about that particular comment. So, one, I can tell from reading these comments that Dylan probably receives a lot of unnecessary hate. Now, I have my gut reactions to Dylan because I don't understand why she's such a topic of discussion. Some people told me that she is a Broadway performer. Apparently, she already had quite the following before she came out. Apparently, she's known to do social media stunts and things like that, so that's probably what it's about. I don't really still understand why she rose to the point where she's on a Bud Light can. I don't personally get that. And then also, here's the part that I have also had troubles with, and I'm sure you guys will let me know that I'm wrong for feeling this way. But I'm fascinated by the fact that she was invited to the White House to speak about trans issues. Now, the reason why that fascinates me, and I know that yet again, this is a point where I think a lot of you will disagree or not get it. For me, this is a layered concern. A, she's literally making a series about her coming out as transgender. I definitely am not a person who sees a transgender person who just came out as worse than a transgender person who's been transitioning for years and has lived their lives as a trans person openly for years. I don't think that it's a better or worse, more valid or not valid kind of situation, but it's more like a trans person who's been out for a really long time, who has directly dealt with the hurdles in society that come with being transgender over a space of time, especially over a space of time where laws have changed, where employment discrimination has shifted. I think trans women who have the experience of being who they are, living the way they are, and directly interfacing with these issues that are in front of us, I think probably should have been the ones invited to the White House. Now, I have actually been to the White House. I've been invited to the White House, and I saw Joe Biden give a speech. I was invited right at the end of the Obama administration. It was me and a bunch of other creators. I was the only trans person, and I didn't get a dialogue with Joe Biden at all. I didn't get to talk to him about trans rights and access to trans care. And from what I can piece together, Dylan is a very privileged trans woman. From what I have seen on social media, correct me if I'm wrong, Dylan was able to get full FFS within the 365 days. And from what I've seen, I hope they get where they're going. Sorry. And from what I've seen, the FFS was part of the spectacle. When she revealed herself, it was a whole thing. And I understand, as a person who does social media, why a lot of this happened, but it's just so alien to me. And that's the reaction that I've been having to Dylan Mulvaney in general, is it's so alien to me. Just for people to understand, The vast majority of transgender care, let's just talk about FFS. The average FFS that I've seen, like full FFS work, facial feminization work, you're gonna be paying upwards of $50K. You can definitely find cheaper prices in different places, and we can debate about whether or not that's better or worse or whatever. But long story short, whether it's $5,000 or what was probably more likely paid in Dylan Mulvaney's case, upwards of $100,000, that is a huge financial hurdle for a lot of transgender women who are trying to live their lives in a way where they don't experience dysphoria as much. And these procedures, and we can criticize this cultural aspect of it, do usually lead to a higher quality of life for transgender women, especially because they're able to, in a lot of situations, more commonly be seen as their gender. Once again, we can criticize that. That's a whole concept that is probably worthy of criticism, but it's still the case, right? And so I guess when I've seen her experience and what she projects, it's really alien to me, and it's interesting to me that she specifically was the person who was invited to speak to Joe Biden about trans access to care. Because frankly, from what I can piece together, she's in a good situation. She's probably not in the way that many of us are. I'm saying us, but me not so much because I live in California, dealing with the fact that people are right now actively trying to take away our rights, actively trying to take away our ability to make our lives more livable. And that's what's really frustrating to me about this. Every time I talk about this, let's make this very clear. Every time I talk about this, I am not arguing for me. I'm not saying I'm the right person. If you listen to what I say most of the time about being transgender, you know that I consider myself to have a very privileged experience. So I don't really feel like I'm the best person to speak with authority all the time about trans experiences and every single thing. But there are definitely a long list of trans women who do that regularly, who do have the qualifications. I can think of several right off the top of my head. There's a lot of people who are able to do it, right? People who have lived a life where they're struggling to gain access to care and would probably be more properly suited for these conversations. From what I can see from these, Dylan can hold her own. She's clearly on the receiving end of a lot of shit. So it's not like the going to the White House canceled any of that out. But I do find it interesting who they choose to highlight. Why is it often trans women who are incredibly privileged? Why is it often transgender women who have only but so much experience living a life as a trans person and dealing with all the various hurdles that come with being transgender? And I know that when people hear that, they hear me invalidating a transgender person early in their trans life. But like I said about maturing, right? There's a lot of stuff that's really important to you in the early days of your trans life that becomes less important to you with time. And there's a lot of ways that where you can have very rose-colored glasses, and it can give you somewhat of an unrealistic perspective. And I just think sometimes that's worth considering when we speak about who we invite to the White House to talk about trans rights. That's all I'm saying. Maybe still invite her, but maybe also invite some other people who have been doing trans advocacy work for a really long time. And once again, no, I'm not talking about me. Frankly, if I was invited, I would say no. But that's another conversation for another day. So let's look into the Bud Light stuff, okay? Because I'm fascinated by what this possibly even looks like. What does Dylan Mulvaney on a Bud Light can even fucking look like? Oh my God. And it looks like it's art of her. And it looks like they did a pretty decent job. That is her smile. That is certainly her smile. To my understanding, this was a Pride campaign thing. It's one of those like little one-offs that they've done. And I think other people have pointed it out by now, but all of the companies for years now have been doing pro-LGBT stuff. Bud Light definitely has sponsored and been in many an LGBT ad, right? Because, and this is gonna blow your mind, we live in a fucking capitalistic society where gay dollars are still dollars, right? And I watched a video earlier today where there was this conservative woman talking about, oh, they're willing to alienate 99% of their audience. And I don't know if you get it. I really don't know if you get it. These people do not care about you. These people do not value you. They value your money. They are willing to side with whichever current political thing is trendy at the time. That's why you've got companies like Nestle doing like environmental fucking shit, right? Because even though they're directly involved in the destruction of our world, they're going to fall into this pro-earth shit so that they can get money from people. It's something that tricks you into spending your money. And I'm not gonna say that there isn't any good that comes out of some of those things, but at the end of the day, I need for people to get that they're only interested in your money. They're only interested in your money. That's why they do these pride campaigns, right? Well, there are so many companies that have homophobic histories that paint themselves rainbow every time pride season comes along, right? So just because a company says, oh, we're pro-LGBT, doesn't mean they actually are. We can appreciate it for what it is, but the reason why they're pandering to LGBT people and they're also willing to alienate their audience of apparently very conservative beer drinking men who like Bud Light of all fucking beers is the same. They want to make money, right? They want to make money. And here's the funny part about it. You wanna know the funny part about it? There's a lot of like conservative men doing this whole like show of fuck Bud Light. Fuck Bud Light, I'm never gonna drink that shit again. I'm never gonna drink that shit again. I'm never gonna drink that. They're doing this whole song and dance, but the gag is they know you're still gonna drink it. They know you're still gonna drink it. They know that you're not gonna suddenly start buying this overpriced, made in America conservative beer because it's more expensive. It doesn't taste the way that you probably want it to. And it's not gonna be nearly as accessible. So at the end of the day, because of various monopolies and things, they're always gonna get your money. They're always gonna get your money. They know that you trying to boycott this bullshit is a song and dance. You may think that, you know, it's gonna work out, but it's not. It's not. Do your little boycott. That's another thing too. I love how the people who bitch and moan all day long about cancel culture are always whining about everything. These people are whining about a picture of a trans woman on a beer can. Aww. You're pathetic. Go out. I'm gonna need some of these men to go out there and build, okay? Go out there and build, make yourself useful. You're sitting on your phone, talking to your computer, bitching and moaning about how someone put someone you don't like on your favorite beer. Go out there and work. Go out there and build, okay? Stop being offended by pictures on beer cans. Anyway, I just think it's so silly. I don't, look, I've got all of these Izzies, these Vizzies or whatever. And cause girl, I don't know why I was like, girl, we finna turn up, bitch. I don't know why I came to New Orleans and bought alcohol. I not only bought alcohol, I got food and shit. Like, I got all of this stuff that I basically have to eat before the end of today. Eat and drink before the end of today. So girl, let's open up a Vizzy. I'm gonna have to throw a party or something because I wanna feel like I didn't waste my money. You know how long I stare at the art on a Vizzy can before deciding to drink it? Not very long. Also, because here's something also I'm curious about. Who owns Vizzy? Where does Vizzy come from? Let me Google it real fast. Vizzy hard seltzers are owned by Molson Coors. And who owns Coors? Who owns Bud Light? Anheuser-Busch. The same company that owns Bud Light also owns Budweiser and a lot of other beers that I would associate with bro-y bullshit. And some other companies that are completely different. There's Babe. There's Beyond Beer. There's one called Babe. Cutwater Spirits, which I know is from San Diego, which tends to lean quite conservative. Like, these companies, like, you guys have to get it. Like, okay, you boycott Budweiser. You don't buy Bud Light. But then you also have to boycott all of these other things. And at the end of the day, you're not gonna do that. You like your beer so fucking much that you tied your identity to it. They know that you're not going to stop buying this beer. And they also know that even if you stop buying Bud Light, that doesn't mean you're not gonna buy all these other fucking beers, right? Presidente, Shock Top, Blue Point, Elysian Brewing Company. Like, you're not gonna be able to avoid this because this is capitalism, baby. This is capitalism, baby. They own it already. Pick a better reason. That's what I'm trying to say. Pick a better reason, because I don't believe that you're gonna stick to it. Prove me wrong. But anyway, I just really wanted to check that out. I still don't really know who she is. I still don't know why people care that much about her. But I looked into it. These are my thoughts. I think the conservatives who are reacting to this like it is the end of the world are fucking dumb. But what else is new? What else is new? And I think they need to find other, like, that thing that's so interesting to me actually too, about starting to walk away from the internet and get more connected to my real life and going on vacation, doing all these things has made it so that, like, when I do get a glimpse of stuff like this, it's, it sounds insane. Like, it actually sounds crazy to me. Especially in New Orleans, there's so many things going on. I'm doing so many things. It's like, I'm so busy just living my life and trying to enjoy things that when someone says, hey, you know that people are boycotting this beer because there's a picture of a woman they don't like on it? I'm like, imagine caring that much about that. Imagine caring that much about that. I'm also really jealous of the amount of naivete and ignorance that's required for you to really think that boycotting a beer is going to really do anything. The last time that we talked about boycotting, we talked about fucking J.K. Rowling and her stupid wizard game, right? And the boycotting was more about not showing your support for people who support politics you don't agree with. And I guess in the same way, that's what this is. But of course, when we were doing it over Harry Potter, it was, oh my God, you're being cruel. You're being cruel to the hardworking turf who put a lot of energy into creating something that we all love, right? And now these same people are willing to turn their backs on Budweiser, a company that has worked so hard by exploiting thousands of people, thousands of laborers, right? To bring you something that you love and identify with. You're willing to walk away from that. You're willing to give that up because of a person named Dylan Mulvaney? Because of a theater kid? I don't know, seems pretty silly to me personally. Personally, seems really silly to me. All right, but anyway, I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna go in this outfit, but I know I'm gonna go somewhere. Bitch, I decided to like take a whole like trip, right? I did a whole trip to New Orleans. I had no plan. I just said, we're gonna do something. We're gonna do something, okay? We are going to do something. And oh my goodness, boy, has it been overwhelming. I'm so excited to go home. I've probably never been more excited to go home, if I'm being honest with you guys. I'm like over the moon, honestly. Because I think I've gotten it out of my system. Now I just want to work. So y'all will be seeing some more stuff. You guys follow my side channel, but I will be repurposing my side channel. Click on the video that I have linked in the description box if you want to know why my side channel changed. Basically, I'm going to be moving a lot of shit to Patreon. So if you like my side channel content, that's where you find it. Anyway, on that note, I will talk to you guys later. Until next time, bye.